Hey guys, I'm Vegard, and in today's video we are gonna rob a bank. Shit, is this falling apart? Is this going? Oh yeah, now I know how ladies feel. This is really annoying though. I can imagine this always happening at the worst imaginable time. No, I'm just kidding guys, it's Vegard, and the reason why I brought out my stockings is because in today's video you're gonna learn how to polish shoes. So this is a remake of the original how to polish shoe tutorial, and the reason why I'm filming this remake is simply because there are some important steps that I didn't know about the last time I filmed it, which I've started to implement, and I want to show you guys it as well because it makes the whole job of polishing your shoes a lot easier and a lot faster. So let's get started. So to polish your shoes, you're basically going to need an apron like this to protect your shirt and pants from getting shoe polish dust on it when you start buffing your shoes later. So the next thing you'll need is something to cover the surface you're working on with, and for that job I usually use newspaper like this. I just spread it, lay it over, and make sure to cover a large enough area with it. However, in today's video I'm going to use this disposable paper tablecloth, which is white because it makes it a lot easier for you to see what I'm doing. So next to that we're going to be needing a shoe polish brush. This has a buffing brush on one side and a small applicator brush on the other side. This is sort of a combo brush. If you want to buy them separately, you can do that as well. After that, we're going to be needing a tin of shoe polish. I use Kiwi Original because it's affordable and you can buy it practically everywhere. It's also really good and I've yet to have a problem with it. So this is definitely what I recommend using. So we're also going to be using some stockings in this video. So these are just regular knee highs. I ordered them online because I'm too embarrassed to buy them at the store. I don't know why. So I always order these online. So these are already like plain normal stockings. I'm going to show you how to use them in a bit. So next we have disposable paper towels, and we're going to use them to apply the shoe polish. I'm going to show you how to do that later as well. We have this disposable vinyl gloves, and all these gloves really do is to protect your fingernails from getting shoe polish under them, because if you get shoe polish in there, it's a real hassle to get out. Getting shoe polish on your skin is not a big problem. You can just wash it out with normal dishwashing soap, but on your nails that's a whole nother story. So that's why I'm always using these disposable gloves when I'm polishing my shoes. So the last accessory are these cedarwood shoe trees. I always use shoe trees in my shoes when I'm polishing them, and that's simply because it gives the shoe some integrity, making it easier, to apply pressure and to really massage the shoe polish into the leather. As well as when you're buffing, you need some resistance against the buffing brush, and the shoe trees does a great job for that. By the way, if you'd like to learn more about any of these products, I have left links to them below this video, so you can just click on them to check them out. So to get a good polish, the first thing we need to do with our shoes is to remove the laces. So when the laces are out, then we use the large buffing brush to brush off any dust and dirt off the shoes, giving us a nice and clean surface to work with. So now that the shoes are free from dust and dirt, we can finally start applying shoe polish. And we do that by dipping this disposable paper towel in the shoe polish and covering the shoes in a thin and even layer of shoe polish. So paper towel is great for applying shoe polish to flat surfaces, but to really get into every crooks and crevices, you need to use the smaller applicator brush. And to use that, you simply dab it in some shoe polish and then run it lengthwise along seams like this here and along the joint between the sole and the leather. And doing this will really make the shoes watertight, and that's really important. So in addition to using my small applicator brush to get shoe polish into every crooks and crevices of my fine leather shoes, I also use my applicator brush to apply shoe polish to my hiking boots. So these leather boots have a real coarse leather, and for that reason it's not really necessary to use a paper towel to apply shoe polish, because I'm not after the same shine in these leather boots as I am in my finer leather shoes. The only thing that concerns me when I'm polishing these shoes is these boots is actually to get enough shoe polish on so that they are watertight and so that the leather is moist and won't crack up. So now I'm done applying shoe polish to the first shoe, and all that really remains to do now is to repeat the steps and apply shoe polish with the other one as well. So I've applied shoe polish to the shoes, and I've applied shoe polish to the toes, to the heel, including the sole to make that nice and black as well. I've also applied shoe polish to the sides and to the upper. And one more thing is that if you do have shoes with a leather sole, you will need to cover that in shoe polish every other time you polish your shoes as well. Because if you don't, water will get into the sole and it will start to crack. So you need to cover that in shoe polish as well. Obviously, I would recommend a neutral color shoe polish so it don't stain the floor when you walk around. So next, I put the lid back on the shoe polish tin so that doesn't dry out. And I also make sure to empty the applicator brush of shoe polish by rubbing it against the covered surface. That way I prevent dried up shoe polish to some degree from getting onto the shoes the next time I'm going to polish them. So now the leather is nourished and is made as watertight as can be by the shoe polish, but we also want to make it shiny. And to bring forth the shine, we're going to buff it, and we're going to start with this large buffing brush. So if you hadn't used a paper towel earlier to apply the shoe polish, but only the applicator brush, we would have run a real high risk of ending up with heaps and lumps of shoe polish on the shoe. And buffing away those heaps and lumps is a real hassle. You can sort of compare it to plastering a wall and ending up with too much filler and having to sand that down. So using a paper towel to apply shoe polish to the flat surfaces is something you will be rewarded for when the time comes to buff your shoes. And when you're done buffing with the buffing brush on the first shoe, you simply repeat with the other shoe. So after you buffed your shoes, if you discover that you've ended up with some lumps of dried shoe polish on the leather, my trick is simply to scrape it off using the edge of my shoe polishing brush. And I simply scrape that off gently and carefully, making sure not to damage the leather, of course. And when they're all gone, I simply give the area a light buff with the buffing brush again to remove all scratch marks. So the second to last step when polishing a couple of shoes like this is to make them really shiny. And we're going to do that by using a couple of stockings. Not on our head this time, fortunately. Actually, you can put it on your hand and create sort of a buffing mitten out of it, because this will really make your shoes shiny. And all you do is like put it on the hand like this, so it becomes sort of this mitten, and just use it like stroke it over the over the leather of the shoe in a fashion like this, with light swift motions. Another way you can use it is to create a sort of a ball out of it like this here. And just use that as sort of a polishing swab like this and move in the same manner. So the third way of using a stocking like this to buff your shoe is to have a shoe polish box which will act as sort of a pedestal for your shoe. Obviously you can put it on the shoe polishing box, and by holding the stocking in either end you can sort of move it in a back and forth motion like this. This is a much more efficient and easy way of buffing your shoe. But since I don't have a shoe polishing box, I will use my second most preferred method, which is the buffing mitten. This is really hard work. I'm actually starting to sweat, so I'm just going to push through because I really want to get this done. So when you're done with the first shoe, you simply repeat buffing with the other shoe until you get the shine you're looking for. We are finally done polishing and buffing the shoes, and it's been quite hard work. And before we reinsert the laces, I want to give you a heads up about the soles, because there tends to accumulate a lot of shoe polish on these soles when you polish them. And that shoe polish tends to stain flooring. So before you start using freshly polished shoes like this indoors, I advise you to use them outdoors for an hour or two, so you can sort of wear off any excess shoe polish on the soles. So for all my shoes, I always use a crisscross pattern, and that's simply because the crisscross pattern is classic, it looks nice, and it distributes the pressure evenly, so it makes the shoes more comfortable to walk in. And if you would like to learn more about the crisscross pattern, you should check out my how to tie and lace your shoes tutorial by clicking on the link on screen or down below this video now. And that's all I had to show in this video. But if you would like a benchmark for your shoe polishing, I know a couple of guys who are not satisfied with their shoe shine until they can read the time of their wristwatch in the reflection on the shoe's toe. And with that, I'm gonna end this video. Thanks for watching. Remember that if you have a question or a request, you can post it as a comment in the comment field below, because I think it's awesome hearing what you have to say. And also, if you like this video, please click the button below and leave a like. It really helps me out.